Hey everybody, welcome back to the Rebel Chums channel. Today we're starting with a new series because I recognize a lot of new fans of the Star Wars franchise, or fans that has been on the verge and now are finally committing to getting into custom lightsabers as a hobby. And there's a lot of terminology that in the beginning you have no clue about what is what. And I had the same when I joined the community in around 2015. It took me several months at least to understand bit by bit, puzzling what terminology heard with what kind of word. So today we're starting with the first topic, and we're going to cover all of the bits and pieces of these lightsabers, and then you have a clear understanding bit by piece what is what and why does it purpose. So I'm using my Graflax. This is a Coreband 2.0 empty hilt kit, and I'm also going to explain what's that. We're going to use this as the teaching or learning material. So today we're going to talk about pommels. Now you have probably heard this terminology already by now, and I'm going to delve more into it. Now, on its own, a pommel is basically the end cap of a lightsaber. In this case, there's a pommel. This is the pommel. Although pommels come in very different shapes and forms, this is considered a pommel as well. And then it's basically the threaded end cap that threads in the bottom of your lightsaber, and it's this piece here. Now, don't confuse it with this piece here, because I want to explain in a later video what's that. But the pommel basically has a few purposes. It keeps all the electronics in the hilt, so they don't slide out. Often, a pommel has these holes, and these holes are basically the only purpose they have is sound venting the sound out the hilt and give you hopefully a rich, bassy sound experience. And this is how the hole looks like on your hilt. Now, it depends per lightsaber brand or installer how the electronics inside are wired. So if they're on a chassis, for example, a Delrin chassis, again, will be discussed later, the whole thing will slide out of the hilt and hang off the wires that are wired to the buttons and the light. And yeah, basically you don't want just the electronics just to fall out, so the pommel is an essential part. Another few things that is essential about the pommel, as I said, is the sound venting. Now, this is a flat design pommel. It's flat against the bottom of the hilt. There's a lot of pommel designs out there that actually sticking out, and having them stick out and having let's say a 2-inch or 3-inch distance from the end of the lightsaber to the end of the pommel gives you a resonation chamber for the sound to resonate in, because you want to have a certain experience with the sound coming out of your lightsaber. In this case, because it is a flat surface, the sound comes out and it immediately disperses everywhere. It doesn't have that chamber, so it doesn't amplify in that chamber. If you have a good designed pommel, that sound will be amplified and you get a much louder resonation sound. Good examples for me are, for example, the Vader's Vault combat classes lightsabers, and you have to think about the Revan, for example. And there's a couple of others, but if you look on the Vader's Vault website and you go to the Revan, you can see it has a pommel that's around 2 inches long, and that's basically a hollow pommel, and the sound comes out from the holes on the end of the pommel, and that particular pommel design amplifies the sound significantly more than some other pommel designs. So when you screw up a screw, for example, a pommel design, the pommel of a Vader's Vault Fury on there, you will notice the sound is more muffled, and that's because the pommel length and width and the resonation chamber inside is different, and so it gives you a different experience in audio. So choosing a lightsaber with a particular pommel can be very important, because you get a good feedback of the audio. So that's also always a thing to look for, is like how is the resonance chamber of the pommel. Is it a flat pommel, is it a very long pommel, is it a pointy pommel? And that all affects the sound. And of course the holes. What kinds of holes? Are they round holes? Are they oval holes? Are they slits? They do have an impact on how the audio is perceived by you. So that's a thing that actually is a thing within the lightsaber community. So I want you to make you aware of that. Another thing is, if you go lightsaber dueling, or you just like a weighty lightsaber, having a weighted pommel makes a difference as well. With certain lightsabers, a lot of the weight actually comes from the pommel to counterweight the electronics in the middle or in the top of the hilt, or a long blade. So if you have a long blade, NeoPixel blade, or a normal NeoPixel blade, having a pommel to counterweight from the edge or the point of the hilt or of the blade itself, the lightsaber blade, all the way to the pommel, to keep that balance. So you want to have a little bit a heavier backside in that case. That is more if you want to do lightsaber dueling or spinning. Then having a weighted pommel can make a good difference in how the lightsaber feels and handles in your hand. So my conclusion is, when you go look for a lightsaber, definitely look at the pommel design as well. If you're specifically looking for a lightsaber to go dueling with, in a professional sense, where, for example, you actually want to practice and become good at it, you have to choose a lightsaber that has the right and length and has a good weighted pommel. That is sometimes a bit tricky to find out, so I do recommend check out my YouTube videos, because I do cover a lot of the weight of most of the lightsabers, so it also gives you a bit of a idea how much a lightsaber weighs, and based on that you can say, I want to have a lighter weight lightsaber for spinning, easier, faster, or I want to hang it off my belt. I don't want a heavy lightsaber. I don't want that. I go choose for a lighter lightsaber. But yeah, the main point is the pommel may be overlooked a bit, but it's an important part of the lightsaber. It helps with counterweight, it helps with the audio, and it keeps all the electronics inside, because it's easier to also be able to access the electronics from the bottom. Then you have to unscrew the entire lightsaber in the middle section and whatnot, which is not always the best option to do so. So hopefully this terminology slash educational video was helpful to you. Let me know if you have any comments or questions that I can help you with, and hopefully I see you in the lightsaber community groups. Definitely check out the Vault and the Elite lightsaber communities. They're very fun, very nice and friendly admins and moderators to keep everybody in check and having a good time. Very great groups, and yeah, thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.